Hey everyone, my name is Tyler Flagg, and I'm the founder of Flying Company, the effortless way to staff your own flights. The goal of Flying Company is to make it as easy as possible to find, assess, hire, and pay pilots on one spot. So today we're just going to be focusing on the operator side. We're going to do a high level overview because a lot has changed on the platform here lately. And so what I mean by operator is if you're like a scheduler, dispatcher, aircraft manager, chief pilot, anyone within the flight department whose job it is to find and assess and hire and pay these pilots, this video is going to give you a quick overview. So the first step is to just register for free on flyingcompany.com. The first thing that'll happen once you get logged in is you're going to see that you are logged in as an operator, right? And then in this situation, this is exactly what you're looking for. So this is your trips page. We've got a calendar right here that shows all the different trips that you have in the past, present, and future, and what kind of stage of the trip that they're in. If they've just been created, if you already hired a pilot, if the trip is complete. In the top right corner is the menu. So we're going to, just kind of walk down this real quick in order to get ourselves set up. It'll be very clear when you log on. There's onboarding instructions, but the first thing you want to do is just go to the general information page, because we're just going to put in some basic information so that the pilots know who they're communicating with. The next thing is going to be the aircraft section. So you can have, one aircraft, you can have 100 aircraft. It doesn't matter. This is your fleet. This is where you put all the information about your aircraft that you want to have automatically shared with the pilot. So this is going to reduce, all the text messages back and forth and the emails back and forth, because you've got one spot. And once you hire the pilot, this information gets automatically shared. So it's super easy to create an aircraft. Just click add new aircraft. We've got integration with JetNet, so you can just type in the tail number and then it's going to pull in a bunch of information. Now that's not going to be, everything that you need. You're going to need to add a little bit more color to it, because we want to be able to share this information once and have the pilot be, very prepared for the trip. So we got basic information like, who the owners are, who the operators are, serial number, tail number, stuff like that. Configuration, what's the basic empty weight so the pilot can run told, who to call for maintenance in the event of an issue on the road, where's the plane based, operating procedures. This is stuff like, what is the pilot supposed to wear? How are they supposed to handle flight log procedures? And, what kind of, fuel card they're expected to use when they're on the road. The last one, also very important, is insurance. So here's where you can put your insurance broker, your insurance company, and very importantly, the open pilot warranty hours on your insurance policy. The reason we do this is that then we can provide a badge for the pilots who meet those minimum hour requirements and let you know when they, provide a quote for your trip. If you don't have an open pilot warranty on your insurance, that's fine. But you can always just put your kind of, company's internal minimum standards here. So once you've got an aircraft and it's, valid, then you can go ahead and create a trip. So super simple. You just select your aircraft from the dropdown, select the operator, select what type of crew you need, create the itinerary, add some additional notes in here if you so choose. And then once you create a trip, it's going to get sent out to all the pilots on the platform who are qualified in that aircraft. And it's going to look something like this. So this is a trip to Denver that has two quotes on it. And once we click inside here, we're going to be able to see those pilots. And so this section right here is really like the meat and potatoes of the platform, right? This is the most important thing, because this is where you go to assess the pilots. You can see everybody in the same spot in a very standardized format. So as you can see on the left-hand side, we're looking at Pete Mitchell, who is registered in Stripe as an independent contractor. And so this is really important. And we're going to see, we can compare it over here to Ted Stryker, who is registered in Stripe as an LLC. So pilots, when they get set up, they go into Stripe, they create a Stripe Connect account, and they're either saying, I am an independent contractor, I'm 1099, or I'm registered as a business. And then they've got to provide their EIN number and all that, right? So if you're a company that can only hire a pilot if they are operating under a business entity, then this is a great way of knowing that and knowing it's actually validated via Stripe. So here, we're looking at Pete Mitchell. Up at the top, we got some badges. We can see that they meet the open pilot warranty hours for the aircraft. We can see that his ID was verified via Stripe. And we can see that he's also familiar with the NBAA standard operating procedures. And also, very importantly, the last time that he went through 6158, it was at Part 135 standards, if that's important to you. We've got a little rating right here, and you can click Explain Score, and it explains how we came up with that rating. So it's, biased towards, experience, but also factors in your location, your quote, and also the professional credentials that that pilot has. So we're able to scroll down here. We're able to see, where the pilot is based out of, how many other operators consider this pilot on the short list, right? You can download a pilot history form for the pilot right here. So you don't have to send them a blank one, have them fill it out and get it back to you 2 days later. So this pilot history form is industry standard, and pilots have to re-sign it and re-verify that it is accurate within 7 days of providing a quote for your trip. So you can download this whenever you want, send it off to your insurance broker, send it to your chief pilot, send it to your safety officer, whoever it is in your organization that needs to make that decision. You can also click right here. You can verify the pilot's information against the FAA's database. It's going to take you to the FAA Airman Registry. But as a quick reference, we've got their certificates and ratings and type ratings and hours and everything like that down here. Got an about section, credentials. This is where you can actually view the URL that has the verified credentials from NBAA, whether that person has gotten a CAM or a safety manager or they've done professional development training. You can also see if they've done things like the FA Wings program or UPRT training, right? All this stuff is, builds a picture of whether or not this pilot is a professional and takes their job seriously. So in the middle, we've got a quote, right? So all these quotes are all in a standardized format that makes it very easy for you to review them. You can see their flying day rate, the travel day rate. We include $100 a day in per diem baked in here just so that you don't have to be chasing after, $8 Starbucks receipts. We've got the service fee for the platform as well as the payment processing fee. This is based on a credit card as opposed to ACH, and I'll show you a little bit more about that later. So really cool here, we've got estimated expenses. When pilots provide a quote for their services, they can also include estimated expenses, and we encourage them to do so for their hotel, ground transportation, air travel, what have you. So you can go in here and see exactly how that pilot came up with that number. Now, they're obviously not held to this, like things change, but this gives you a good picture of what the totality of the cost of that trip is going to on you. Down here, we've got a trip itinerary map. Sorry, I went the wrong direction. So we've got a good picture of exactly what this trip entails, right? First day off to Denver, next, a couple days down off to Florida, and then, bring it back to Van Nuys. So this is exactly what the pilot also sees. And so they have a really good sense of like everyone being on the same page before they provide a quote. Also down here, you can always send them a message. So instead of chasing down people via text or emails and multiple different threads, you can send the messages right here and send, messages to all the different pilots all in one spot. Also, if there's additional documents that you need from that pilot, like a passport or something like that, you can always request it here and then they can share it through the portal. So once you have gone through all of these pilots and you reviewed them and you assessed them and figured out who it is that is best suited for your company and your principal and your, the other pilot they might be flying with, then you click Hire Pilot. You get the opportunity to review this summary one more time, see all those expenses. We do have we set it up so that the pilot gets a 1-day deposit to help them float, travel costs and everything like that. And so you get to see what's due upon the pilot accepting hire. You can also, select what payment method. So you can have credit cards, you can have ACH bank accounts, you can have as many of them as you want, right? So if you have a fleet of 50 planes, you could have 50 different credit cards or 50 different bank accounts, or you could just have one bank account for your company, and then you could work it out on the back end. So once you've decided on that, then that's going to change, the payment processing calculation up here if you choose ACH, and it's just, like a flat $5 fee as opposed to the 2.9% processing. And then down here, you can sign a pilot services agreement. You can view that just by clicking here, sign it. And then once that's done, it gets kicked off to the pilot. Once they confirm, they get paid and you've got a pilot for your trip. Super easy, right? The goal is to be able to bring this down from something that, takes multiple days and multiple conversations to something that you can, create a trip, set it, forget it, come back 6 hours later, and then, assess and hire a pilot in less than 30 minutes. Final thing that I'll show you is on the billing and payments page. So this is where you can go in using Stripe and you can add all those credit cards. You can add those bank accounts. What's also really nice is that because we use Stripe, we are able to show you a track record of every single contract pilot that you have hired through the platform. You can see every single one of these trips, what status it is. And if it's a trip that has been completed, you can download the invoice right here. And so it's really easy, for, helping out with all that back office stuff. You're not tracking down receipts and stuff like that and sending emails for trips that happened 2 weeks ago. Everything is right here. You got all your invoices. And at the end of the year, we help support providing to the pilots as well. So this is a quick overview. I don't know how many minutes this has taken, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My name is Tyler. You can find me on LinkedIn. Tyler@flyingcompany.com is my email, and I'd look forward to talking to you. Take care. Bye.